Many people within Husker Nation are familiar with the stories of Husker football and volleyball, but the Nebraska Rifle Team is home to one of the most unique student athletes on campus. Camilla Johannesson has come from overseas to compete at the Division I level, but her time here at Nebraska has been full of challenges on and off the shooting range as she continues her journey in a sport where her family roots run deep. Here inside of Pinnacle Bank Arena, where usually thousands of Husker fans flock to watch their teams compete on the court. However, this afternoon was a bit different. 1,000 people gathered here for the 10th annual Inspire Awards, an event which has grown tremendously over the past decade that celebrates the incredible women impacting the Lincoln community. Huskers getting set to host the Northern Iowa Panthers here tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska. Jake Schrantz and Justice Rohde with you prior to kickoff between two top 25 teams in their respective levels in the FBS and FCS. Justice, this Nebraska team, an emotional win last weekend against Colorado. How do they come out with the same energy level against Northern Iowa here tonight? Timmy Leroy has been making quite an impact since stepping into this starting role with the Huskers hockey team, and I think he's been probably the most welcome surprise to start this season, especially among all of the newcomers. Jake Schrantz here on the final game of the 10th anniversary season with Jeff Garrettson, the general manager of the Yakima Valley Pippins. Jeff, you joined this team and this organization in 2015. You've been here since pretty much the beginning. First off, what got you into the West Coast League? What made you want to join this great league? Jake Schrantz with you on the Pippins postgame show presented by Cascade Natural Gas, here with the high-efficiency player of the game, Justin Cuellar. You go for 4 strikeouts tonight against Bend, 5 innings as well on your first start in league play at the Orchard. Where would you kind of rank this performance in this entire season for you? Timmy Leroy continues to be one of Nebraska's best offensive options this season, and Avery Peck was able to sit down with Leroy earlier this week. Let's hear what he had to say. So it's an 8-3 victory for Yakima Valley tonight, a big offensive game from Dom Longo. 3 hits and 4 tries with 3 RBIs. We'll hear from him in just a minute. But on the bump for Yakima Valley, A.J. Hendrickson, in his 5th start of the season, goes for 7 complete innings and has a really solid outing against this Kamloops North Paws squad. It was kind of low scoring early on. The Pips, in about halfway through until around the 7th inning, went for 2 runs in each of the 5th, 6th, and 7th offensively. That's where they really separated themselves in this game in order to secure the 8-3 victory. But let's get to that interview with the player of the game, Dom Longo. Jake Schrantz on the Pippins postgame show presented by Cascade Natural Gas, here with the high-efficiency player of the game, Dom Longo. 3 for 4 today and a big Pippins win, series victory as well. First off, how does it feel at the end of the year to finally get back in the win column in a series?
Feels great. You know, I was actually, I took a series off, as we know, and I got the text from Krusty like, hey, can you come back for a couple games? I was like, absolutely. And so here I am, and, you know, I'm just so excited that we can come back and win some ball games, and this was just a great game. Really enjoyed it.
We saw Rico Longo the last time you guys were here. Today we saw Giovanni. How many Longos are in the sport of baseball, and how many more could we expect to see?
Oh, plenty. There's a ton of Longos that play baseball. I was fortunate enough that my cousin came down here for a wedding of my other cousin's family. And so he's like, I told him, I was like, hey, we're short some guys. We need some guys to play some baseball. And he's from Bishop Gorman. He's a great player. And really happy to have him. And it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience to get us in the same field together. And it was just awesome.
All right, big game from Dom Longo. Big win for Yakima Valley against the Kamloops North Paws.
Amen Thompson.
They skipped the college stuff and they're playing against pros.
This is a high-level play right here.
All-Star Thompson, shot, goes!
The 2023 NBA Draft is just a few days away, and here at League Bound, we are so excited for all the draft festivities. All this time covering these soon-to-be NBA pros this past season will finally come to fruition as these young men take the stage and find out which franchise believes in them to turn things around. What's going on, guys? I'm Jake Schrantz, and in today's video, we'll be examining 2 of my favorite prospects in this year's field of future pros, Amen and Azar Thompson. These 2 guys are arguably the best athletes in the 2023 class, which is not something to just look over. In a field of players like Scoot Henderson, Victor Wembanyama, and others, the Thompson twins are considered locks for the top 10 in this year's draft. Let's start with Amen Thompson. He's a 6'6", 6'7" combo guard who can do virtually all things on the offensive end. One of his main skills is his ability to handle the ball as the lead guard for his team. This skill set will be essential for Amen's ability to transition into the NBA, as the league is always looking for that next guard who can handle the ball and lead an offense. And I believe that Amen Thompson could be that guy. After Scoot Henderson, he is generally believed to be the next best lead guard in this year's draft class. Amen has great positional versatility, as he can potentially play the 1 or the 2 with his height and length. He averaged over 16 points per game in the Overtime Elite League this past season, but I don't think he needs to be the primary scorer to be an effective player at the next level. Amen has flashed some pretty high-level passing skills this season in the OTE, and whether or not the teammates knocked those shots down was a different story. But the passing is something that I believe in when it comes to Amen Thompson. Let's move over to Ausar Thompson now. Just like his brother Amen, I believe that he can be very special at the next level. Ausar is coming into the NBA at around the same size as Amen, just around 6'6", 6'7". He can move really well and attack the rim too. However, Asar's greatest strength in the future may come with his shooting ability. Now, I have to admit, when you look at the numbers this season for both Amen and Ausar Thompson, shooting doesn't appear to be one of their biggest strengths. However, Ausar hit at least one three-pointer in 10 of the 16 games that he played this season, and in 6 of those 10, he hit more than one. We've seen other players come into the NBA, even other players with Ausar Thompson's physical archetype, that have developed jump shots over time. I think of players like Jaylen Brown, a guy who came into the NBA with very similar shooting numbers to Ausar, as you see here. We obviously know what Jaylen Brown has turned into, a 2-time All-Star and even a second-team All-NBA player this season. If Ausar can develop along a similar path, I think we may be in store for another fantastic talent on the wing coming into the NBA. Now, at the time of recording this video, the 2023 NBA Draft has yet to take place, and here are the teams who may be focused on picking up Ausar or Amen Thompson on Thursday's draft. The 2023 NBA offseason is just about underway, and before all the big news that is sure to happen this offseason takes place, I want to take a minute to assess the Jordan Poole Wizards trade. All over social media, I have seen video after video, tweet after tweet, post after post about how Jordan Poole is not the guy and how the Wizards' future is in question. However, today I want to give my takes about how the Washington Wizards are actually looking set up pretty well for the future, and how they may have even won the Chris Paul trade. What's going on, guys? Jake Schrantz here again, and okay, it's time for the hate to stop. Jordan Poole had a rough postseason, but the way that I have seen this man be dragged through the mud for an unfortunate performance in this postseason has been crazy. I am still incredibly high on what JP can bring to a team, and for the Wizards, I think their future is actually incredibly bright. Let's get into it. So, the Washington Wizards have already had an extremely busy offseason. With the moves to trade away Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis, it is clear that the direction of the franchise is shifting. These moves have left the Wizards in a place where a youth movement is in play, and I actually really like where they are headed. Let's start with what they got in return for Chris Paul after they got him in the trade package that sent Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. In return for CP3, the Wizards received Jordan Poole, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Ryan Rollins, and future draft compensation. This move looks great for the Washington Wizards. It all came down to this.
From the sideline, gets it to Williams with 4. Williams across the timeline with 3. Williams to the right wing.
Here's a look at a busy weekend of sportscasting work in Sioux Falls. After a 3.5-hour drive, we arrived at the Sanford Pentagon. Harmon and I got to our spot and set up for the first game of the weekend. We grabbed some food from Media Dining and called an awesome game between Nebraska and South Dakota women's basketball. Then came day 2. We walked around the facility, saw some cool pictures on display, looked over our prep before warm-ups, and then it was game time.
Gary will inbound. He'll run the sideline. Gets it to Williams with 4. Williams across the timeline with 3. Williams to the right wing. Contested 3 is up and short. And St. Mary's wins it in Sioux Falls.
Then we grabbed some dinner after finishing this busy weekend. I'm a college student, and here's what a busy weekend of sports broadcasting looks like for me. First, I got some food to fuel up before the broadcast. I watched some Nebraska versus Wisconsin tape as I ate. After that, it was time to pick out some of my favorite music and get ready for the show. I opted for this blue suit. It's one of my favorite ones that I have. You always have to look your best when you do a broadcast. The old dress for the job you want mentality, you know? After that, I headed to the arena, talked with some of my friends from school, and then it was time to get on the mic.
Good pass from Murray. Back set to Beeson. Wide open lane.
The next day, I got up bright and early for our student radio football broadcast. Nebraska hosted Purdue inside Memorial Stadium. I tried the Nebraska Classic chili and cinnamon rolls for the first time in my life. Then I got set in our booth to host the pregame show. After that finished, I was off to the arena again for day 2 of volleyball play-by-play.
So now here's a free ball to Big Red. Riley on the slide. Jackson